Can I tell you my favorite imagery of that kind of all time is in Dark Souls 2. You've played through the whole game and you're coming up to this big confrontation with the king, with Vendrick, and you defeat his bodyguard, and it's like a fucking nail-biting fight. And you're like, okay, it's time for the biggest boss fight of the game. And you go into his like chamber, and he's a giant guy who's hollowed out by the dark side. He's just walking in a circle. He's been driven mad by this pursuit of power. And there's like this haunting song that plays. Bro, the first time I played that game and that happened, I just like put the controller down. Like it made me emotional because it was like thinking that deeply about like, yeah, like how far will you push yourself away from like what a person is? That shit will stay with me for the rest of my life. Just like truly, to your point, like the imagery that I should be like, that sucked, man. I'm like, that's so good that a story can achieve that feeling. Oh, that's what it's all about, man. Come on.
And real quickly, the other thing I wanted to say was the random, sections of prose about, turning into trees and gods and stuff like that. I feel like I kind of have those little like flashes of I don't know, Lovecraftian intrusive thoughts every now and again. Like I relate to like those sections.
Yeah, the show will do that to you. It's this show will make you like that. I also think that's like part of being a writer. Like I can't underscore little stuff just gets in your head and like completely explodes. Like in March last year before we went to Europe, I was walking to work and I saw this. There was like a guy in like business. They were like younger people. Not that we're old, but you know what I'm saying. And there was like a guy and a girl, and they were sitting in King George Square, Pat, right? So like on those benches as you walk down, and they were sitting there, and it was really weird because they were dressed in business clothes and they were drinking coffee out of mugs, but they're in the middle of the square. I'm like, that's weird. And they were clearly head over heels in love with each other, but it was really obvious that neither of them had realized that. And that image was so salient to me that I literally like. I went to a bench, I sat down, I pulled out my laptop, and I started writing a novel, and that exploded into like a time travel story. But like it's difficult to underscore the way that like prose kind of it can get beneath your subjectivity sometimes. And yes, I have those thoughts all the time. I'm just lucky enough that I get to write them down. I guess I'm saying I empathize, and you're not crazy. That's a thing. Or we're both crazy. Well, one of the two.
All of that might actually be a good segue into the other thought that I had, because we were kind of talking about like the overall point of it and everything. But it reminded me so much of Silent Night, which we covered for like our Christmas special. And Silent Night, if anyone hasn't seen it, is kind of like the whole movie is about having to accept inevitable death. Like forget the very last 5 seconds of it, and that's what the whole movie is about. And that's what this story, I think, is also about. Because I think there's an argument that the kid is dead at the end of it too. I think when you go back and reread it, the entire time, people are telling the man, like, you have to give up. There is no way to survive this. You are going to die. The man is thinking inside his own head, I am going to die. But he's refusing to accept it. He's on the road, which is a lie because it's the cave, or if, whatever. Like, the whole thing is refusing to accept that death is inevitable. And it's kind of interesting how, like, Silent Night attacked the same thing, but it feels so different. Because I guess because it was so overt, as like the main point, where here it's a lot more subtle, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a eulogic quality to this book, right? It kind of reads like a eulogy for humanity almost. And yeah, it's about the man like accepting his own death, right? That's kind of like the thing that has to happen. Um, yeah, and I love the way it's written as if this is always happening and will always be happening. Like there's no end to the road. They pick their way among the mummied figures, the black skin stretched upon the bones, and their faces split and shrunken on their skulls, like victims of some ghastly invacuuming, passing them in silence down that silent corridor through the drifting ash, where they struggled forever in the road's cold coagulate. There's a kind of it's like a dead organism. The world is like this dead organism, and the man is yet to realize that he is a part of that organism that's already died. And he has to learn to accept that he was always dead. Like he's been alive all this time and he's raised this kid, but he died the second the world ended. And he just has to make peace with that. And when he does make peace with that, and that's what I really love about the way this book kind of transpires toward the end, is it reads like the last like kind of I was gonna say chapters. Like doesn't have chapters, but like the last kind of 20 to 30 pages that we've read, they kind of read like death rites of like each. They have that meal at the table. That's kind of got like Last Supper vibes. You get show at the arrow, and the kid starts to take on more responsibility throughout this reading as well, in a way that feels like he's testing the kid to make sure that he can do some of this stuff. Yeah, it to me it feels at least that he's preparing for his own death in these subtle ways, right?
And it's interesting what you were just talking about with the road. It didn't hit me until the second read through that they keep talking about the road. And as a reader, you keep thinking that this is one like single interstate that they're on, but it's not. They keep taking different turns. They're cutting through the like forest at one time. Just any road that they come to that's going roughly south is the road. And so you get the feeling that like the road symbolizes the true path, especially with all the golden god stuff in the kid. Like they're on the path of righteousness, but they're also just taking any path that's going in the right direction.
Yeah, and like here, I think we can see Tolkien kind of inverted once again, right? The way that Bilbo and Frodo talk about the road is this kind of a tributary that can take you anywhere, right? That thing Bilbo says to Frodo was like, like when you step onto the road, mind your feet, boy, lest you get swept off to who knows where, right? There's a kind of McCarthy, I think, subsumes that language into. It's still a liquid, but it's like, blood and ash and like this kind of decay that will still take you somewhere, but it's not somewhere you want to go. Like there's no good place where this is going to sweep you off to. And so I think there's a bit of a resumption of that kind of that metaphor that the Tolkien certainly puts forward. And yeah, I've only just thought about that now as you were saying that. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's bad.
They actually like reach their destination basically, and then they find that it's not the answer to their problem, so they just like keep going.
Can I tell you that for a second I didn't think it was going to be good when they got there? Not for 1 minute.
No, me neither. But I mean, I still wanted to know what it was. But like what was the edge of the world like? And it did not disappoint, honestly. Like it was, like barren seas, like even like the constant throughout all of human history, the sea, even that's fucked up. Like it's just not the same. And I love that detail. Like it truly is like Dark Souls wasteland apocalypse.
Yeah,
it's truly like a dead world, like a dying dead world.
Yeah, I love the imagery of like the ocean's not even blue anymore. Like it's so wild. Yeah. I think I had it somewhere.
It was only like a single line, and it might have been glossed over, but there was one that talks about the millions of fish rib cages that were gathered up along the shore. So, like, life everywhere is just gone.
Yeah, it's a cool detail. So it's a Death Stranding shit.
Oh yeah, it is. But it makes sense, so it's not like Death Stranding. Just kidding. That game ended up making sense. I understood it because I'm smart. Yeah, let me see if I've